Welcome back to another episode of Chat with Brandy. This is episode number 9 already. Today we are going to talk about net worth, how to calculate it, why it's important. I'll give you some statistics, and then we're also going to talk about how to set SMART goals today to help you make the most out of your life and business. So if you didn't catch the last couple of episodes, we talked tech. So I give you a list of all my favorite personal and business apps. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, be sure to check the episode 7 and 8 out. For the first part of this video, we're going to talk about net worth, what it is, why it's important, what those kind of things that we're going to talk about. So this is an example of a net worth statement. So a net worth statement is basically a summary of what you own, so all of your assets, and then minus everything you owe, so your liabilities, okay? So the formula works the same way for an individual, a family, or a business. So what's important about net worth? We don't calculate taxes based on it because that's only based on your income for the year. And unless you're selling your business, you may not think that there is much purpose to know what the value of your business or life is. But there are a few reasons why I think it's important to know. And I calculate it on at least an annual basis, okay? So net worth statements remove the guesswork about what your financial situation is. It's very black and white. There's really no room for emotion here. It's literally, this is your net worth and whether that's a positive or negative number. It kind of gives you the big picture of your finances. It can help you give you more certainty, help you make decisions better, and aid you in setting smarter goals, which we'll talk about later. If you're married or you have a business partner, it gives you a mutual understanding of your shared situation. Again, it just shows fact. Like there's not any room for opinions or any kind of gray area. It's just, these are the numbers, this is what it is. It can easily show you where the areas that are needing improvement are. So if you have a lot of debt or, budgets just don't work for you, if you find that budgets are too difficult, do this piece at the very least. Use a net worth statement to track where you are and where you're going. It's, like I say, a way quicker process. It gives you the snapshot that you really need to see if you're healthy or not financially. So I'm going to show you on here how I did this net worth statement. Obviously, I did round numbers, so it's very easy to add and subtract. For you, I would suggest using either an online calculator or an Excel spreadsheet. I will link both of those for you later. So what you're gonna need is just kind of like the episode 4 where we did budgeting. You're gonna need all of your statements that will show your current balances. So you don't need to go through each statement with a fine-tooth comb or anything, but you are gonna wanna know your kind of most recent balances for cash, banks, so that would be checkings and savings, any RSPs you have, TFSAs, any investments that are registered or non-registered, so that could be like our ESPs, GICs, bonds, stocks, mutual funds, you name it. So those are kind of all your cash assets. And then non-cash assets would be any properties that you own. Vehicles could be recreational vehicles, motorhomes, that kind of stuff. Jewelry, art, furniture, anything that you could basically sell. Okay, so for these balances, it's not quite as easy to figure this out, but what you're looking at is fair market value. So that means the highest amount of money that you could reasonably sell that item for today, okay? So for houses and vehicles, that might be kind of easier to figure out, but a lot of the other things you'll probably have to guesstimate, but just be conservative with it. You don't want to overestimate your assets, okay? So you would total up all of these assets, and then you need a list of all your liabilities. So again, this is kind of like when we did the budgeting episode. You're gonna dig out all your credit card statements, your line of credits, your mortgage, your car loans, any personal loans that you might have, anything that you might have in collections, just any debt that you owe, okay? You're going to total all of those up. So then the calculation here is your total assets minus your total liabilities equals your net worth, okay? Now, if you have a negative number here, this just means that you owe more than you own. Okay, so this can be really common for people who are younger. They haven't purchased a house. Usually the house is like the biggest asset that most people own. So if you have a lot of debt, like let's say you just graduated school, so you have a big student loan and you don't have a lot of assets, you may see yourself in a negative situation. This isn't always indicative of like, poor financial decision making or anything like that. It's just showing you what the number is and it's telling you what you can work towards. So even if you want to work towards 0, that's a good goal to make, okay? Now, also, and if for more information about paying down debts, you can see my episode 4. Okay. Now, if you have a positive number here, the overall goal would be for you to just increase that net worth. Okay. So no matter what this number is, your goal should be, I want to increase it. Like that's just a general life goal, right? If you're tracking it monthly or even yearly and you're not seeing growth or you're seeing a decrease, then it's time to take a harder look at what financial decisions you're making that could be improved, okay? So it's difficult to say what an ideal net worth is for any one person or business because, of course, there are so many different factors that play into it, from age to like what city you live in, whether or not you have kids. There's all kinds of factors, right? But I'm going to give you 2 kind of numbers that can help you out. So the first one is a formula, okay? Oh, and that is pretty glary. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so the first one is a formula. So this formula assumes that for the first 25 years of your life, you're not doing a lot of net worth building, okay? And I think that that assumption is pretty fair for most people. And then it also assumes that 1/5 of your gross annual income should be used to increase your net worth. So either to pay down debts or to increase your assets, okay? So the example here is your age minus 25, which for me, I'm 32. So 32 minus 25 is 7. Then you take your gross annual income. So I just put 100,000 would be, you know, a typical family income. Divided by 5 would be 20,000. So 7 multiplied by 20,000 would be 140,000. So that would be, according to this formula, a good kind of starting place, okay, for what your goal should be for your net worth. Now, here's another number for you to look at. According to the 2016 survey of financial security, the average net worth in Alberta, and again, this is not factoring in age or anything like that, is 290,500. And for all of Canada is 295,100. I will link the entire survey results later. You can see like by different age categories, by whether or not the family has children and that kind of thing. But that might be a good helper for you too when you're setting a goal. Okay, so now on to the second part of this video is setting SMART goals. So the reason I kind of want to tie these 2 topics together is because net worth is such an actionable, measurable goal for you to set, okay? So it makes a really good example, but the tips that I'm going to be sharing today in regards to goal setting are completely universal in whatever dreams that you're chasing. So personal, business, fitness, financial, relationships, academic achievements, whatever. Like this goal setting practice will work really well for any of them. So in my line of work, I meet a lot of business owners and individuals whose financial goals consist of get more business or make more sales or pay down debt or increase my income. Those are a good starting point, but if you don't drill down a bit on those, you're not going to gain any traction. So I want you to go from having this kind of fuzzy plan to having an actionable, well-designed strategy to get your objective by implementing the principles of SMART goal setting. Okay, so SMART goal setting. Try to make it so it's not glary for you. Okay, so SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic or relevant, and time focused. Okay, so specific, drilling down on, so let's say we just say our goal is increase my net worth. Okay, so specific would be more like I'm going to increase my assets by $8,000 and decrease my liabilities by $2,000, which would create an increase of $10,000 in my net worth. So having this focus creates like a power that pulls you and your resources towards that goal, okay? Just having a fuzzy plan is not enough to create that kind of forward going motion, okay? So measurable, so we need to be able to track our progress. So for the net worth example, a great way to track it is to recalculate your net worth at certain intervals. So, you know, whether that be monthly or quarterly or yearly, not only does this give you the knowledge of where you're at, but it's also a powerful motivator. So it's just like if your goal is to lose weight, obviously you want to weigh yourself at certain intervals. You want to measure yourself, take pictures, that kind of thing. You want to measure it, okay? Achievable. So this one is kind of the how. So this is where we're putting a plan in place to achieve this goal. So for net worth, it may be budgeting in order to pay debt down within 3 years, or starting a new savings plan with an investor. For weight loss, it would be, you know, tracking your calorie intake, working out X times a week. For a business goal, this would likely be who in the organization is doing what tasks in order to move towards that goal. Realistic or relevant. So if you've really gone through the achievable category on this, this is where you're going to realize whether or not your goal is representative of reality. Okay. So I want you to have big dreams. I want you to have your head in the clouds and the stars, but I also want you to have your feet on the ground by setting a goal that's attainable. Okay. So for net worth, it's important that you crunch the budget numbers and make sure that it's feasible to pay off the debt. To make room for a new investment. For weight loss, different example is like, it's not realistic for you to eat less than 1,000 calories a day, right? So just making sure that it's a realistic goal is important. And then the last one is time focus. So this is where we set a deadline. For net worth, you want to have an overall increase of 10,000, but by when? 1 year, 2 years, you need to set that benchmark in place. So this is all part of the equation, and it's a really important one. You don't have to have just one deadline either. In fact, I usually recommend setting kind of like little milestones. So for the net worth example, you could say every time my net worth goes up by $1,000, I'm going to pop a bottle, or, you know, get a massage or something. For weight loss, it could be every time I lose 5 pounds, I'm going to buy myself a new book or a special coffee or something like that. Okay. Setting the goal in this way really helps to keep you on track and keep you committed. And as I laid out in episode 4, I know I'm mentioning that episode a lot, but it really does tie into this one. So I'm just repeating these tips. I want you to have a support system, whether it's your family, your employees, your spouse, your best friend, whatever. And I want you to be flexible and account for the little imperfections that you definitely are going to come across. I just don't want them to stop you. I just want you to keep on going. I want you to write down your goals in a place that you're going to see daily. Tell other people about them. Keep yourself accountable. I also have some books on the subject that I really like, so I'll post those for you later as well. So lots of resources I'm going to post today. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys found it useful and entertaining, and I also hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.